What's up, Joelinator Club? Alright, so once again, this is a Marvel review, so I got my Marvel poster. And today I am kicking off my X-Men reviews, of course, with the original X-Men film from 2000. Okay, so before I get started with this, I would just like to let you guys know a couple things. First of all, this review is going to contain spoilers, you have been warned. And second, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a background as to the history of this film. Back in 1989, James Cameron was supposed to do an X-Men movie, but the studio that he was used, which was called Coralco, I believe it was called, went bankrupt, and so the deal fell through. Eventually, in '94, Fox bought the rights and made the movie because of the success of the animated series. There were a few scripts that were passed by guys like Joss Whedon and so forth, but eventually Bryan Singer took the director's chair. Now, Bryan Singer didn't want to do the movie, essentially, because he said that X-Men wasn't intelligent lore. But eventually he realized that that was the wrong move, as he read some comics and watched the show, and then eventually he did this movie, and this was what we got. Now, because of this movie's success, superhero is basically considered a genre in its own regard. Now, my point is that if this movie had been made back in '99, or not '99, but in '89 or even '94, it might not have achieved the popularity that it has today. So, here's the synopsis, and once again, spoilers. You've been warned. Alright, Senator Kelly is going to, is thinking about this whole Mutant Registration Act between mutants and humans. Magneto believes that mutants are better than humans, and he creates a device that's going to turn all of the world's leaders into mutants. Wolverine, played by Hugh Jackman, meanwhile meets Rogue, played by Anna Paquin, and they get attacked by Sabretooth and Magneto's henchmen, and then Cyclops and Storm rescue both of them and take them back to the X-Mansion, where they're greeted by Professor Xavier, and they both join the X-Men. Magneto kidnaps Rogue in order to test his machine further, and then eventually the X-Men stop him, and Magneto is placed inside a plastic prison, but we all know that doesn't hold him for long. Okay, what works about this movie? First of all, I like the fact that it's not an origin story. I mean, we had the origins of guys like Wolverine and Rogue, but, well, at least Wolverine as far as the X-Men is concerned. But what I like is what I like about it is the fact that we're basically given their origins as far as the X-Men. You know, it doesn't just focus on them. And I like the fact that this movie's not afraid to use aliases like Cyclops and Storm. There's even a scene where Wolverine asks Professor X if he goes by Wheels. But the one thing that I do have to complain about is the fact that the other X-Men they're not given enough screen time. Wolverine here seems to be in love with Jean Grey because he was in love with her in the comics. They barely say a few words to each other. And Jean Grey, as well as Cyclops, she and Cyclops are a couple, but they barely say 2 words to each other either. At the same time, what was I going to say? I forget what I was going to say. I was probably getting too ahead of myself, guys. I'm sorry. But the fact is, I like this movie because of the performances in it. The performances in this movie are great. Hugh Jackman's awesome as Wolverine, and Anna Paquin is great as Rogue. As far as the other characters go, Professor X and Magneto are handled perfectly. Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen do an excellent job. They both feel like they've known each other for a while, and so that definitely helps. Halle Berry as Storm works pretty well. She's not great by any means, but she's definitely pretty good. Let's see. James Marsden, is that his name? Yes, James Marsden as Cyclops. When I first heard about that, I thought it was kind of interesting. The only other guy that I can think of, the actor that I can think of anyway, is Sabretooth, who was played by Tyler Mane. He does a fairly good job, but again, he's a mere henchman, as the same goes for Toad and Mystique. Now, there is a bit of an argument with this movie as to that Wolverine is overused and that the rest of the X-Men are underused. You know, you don't get enough screen time with them. And I agree with that completely. Now, don't take that the wrong way. I love Wolverine. I think he's an awesome character. He's one of my favorite superheroes ever. But as far as the other X-Men are concerned, Cyclops barely gets anything to say, which is a real shame because I mean, not anything to say, but he barely gets enough backstory or exposure, which is a real shame because he's supposed to be the team leader. Jean Grey, well, she gets more stuff in X2, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. And then Storm until X3. Now, once again, Toad and Sabretooth are basically reduced to mere henchmen, as is Mystique. Now, I will say, Mystique, look at her. She's the one up front. See her right there? Yeah. Definitely some of the neatest prosthetics I've ever seen. Again, she doesn't really have that much to do, but definitely some excellent prosthetics. But in the end, I really like this movie. As a setup X-Men movie, it definitely works, and I do enjoy it. But sadly, guys, okay, with enough that I've griped about, you might think that I don't like it. Far from it. I do love this movie. It just has, its flaws. It's definitely not perfect, but it is a good movie. So, my rating for X-Men is a movie that would be pretty nice at full price. Alright guys, so post your comments below. I want to know, have you seen X-Men? Okay, you know what? Screw that. I know you guys have seen X-Men by now. But, my question for you, what is your favorite X-Men movie? What's your favorite X-Men movie of all time? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, guys, thank you all for watching. And if you like this, like, comment, favorite, hit that subscribe button, and join the Joelinator Club. Chest bump.